What's up, guys? I'm Cope,
Matt,
and we're back with another bad movie review this week on Dead Snow.
Dead Snow.
Dead Snow.
I don't want to do another one.
So, we got Dead Snow this week. First point, right off the bat, it is in subtitles. This movie was not dubbed into English, which is fine. It didn't really hurt the movie.
No.
At all. The dialogue was easy to follow. It was no big deal.
They're in the cabin after they get there, and, they're all in their little separate groups. And the one guy, Martin's, on the couch with the other girl. And he goes, I'm going to try this technique to you. He goes, close your eyes. He sits on top of her hands and then starts smothering her with a pillow. And then she's like, can't breathe. And the guys are like, Martin, get off. Gets off, and she sits up. She's like, I'm claustrophobic. He goes, I'm sorry, I was just kidding. What? You smothered her with a pillow, and you were just kidding.
Like, where... The curious thing about that is, where was that joke supposed to end? Like, he was joking, okay, but where was the joke supposed to end when she passed out? And she's...
I'm going to smother you with a pillow. No, I'm just kidding, I just tried to suffocate you. I'm just kidding. A few minutes later, one of the girls goes out to the bathroom, and she comes back, and she sees something move in the forest. So she runs inside, she's all scared, she's like, I saw somebody. So they look out the window, they don't see anybody, they open the front door, and there's nobody there. So then the one guy turns around, boom! A random guy just pops up in the doorway and says, Yes, random guy in the middle of the woods comes out of nowhere, asks for some coffee, then starts telling them a story about
World War II?
World War II and the evil presence that's there.
Yeah. So this guy was meant to be like the exposition of the story. He came in and told them a whole history lesson about a certain group of Nazi soldiers that bunkered down in this village, and they were torturing the people. So one day the people fought back and chased the Nazis into the mountains, where they froze to death or whatever, and that's kind of the exposition of this whole evil presence in the woods. Now, what got me about this is the same expositional guy who clearly knows about this whole legend or folklore, whatever it is, has a tent out in the mountains, and, of course you hear the ruffling and stuff, and he's like, hello? Is anyone there? Let me go outside. So yes, he does bring a weapon with him, which is smart, but it's just, if that was me, if none of the kids that you just spoke to followed you back to your tent. That's common sense. And if you know about this evil presence or whatever, and you believe in it, then you should automatically know, shit, this might be exactly what I was talking about, But no, instead he acts just as stupid as anybody else in one of these movies.
And let me go outside.
And he gets attacked by a zombie. And I'm pretty sure you had the next point of what actually happened there.
Yeah, so that's when we get our first sight of the zombie. And instead of, our typical zombie that bites you and eats you, this zombie walks... First off, you see a blur across the screen, then his neck is sliced open. Then he runs back to his tent, goes inside. Then one of the zombies runs into his tent, and all you see is the shadow. That's not your typical zombie now, folks. This is straight up serial killer zombie status. The kids now, they're not really kids.
No, they're in college. They're in medical school.
Their group gets their first encounter with the zombie as she's in the bathroom sitting there. Sitting there, and she sees the eye, but you can see the whole face of this zombie, and he's looking in at her in the bathroom, and she calls out the other guy's name.
Erland,
is that you? Clearly not, you stupid bitch.
And it wasn't even just the eye, because then the camera panned around, the zombie was circling the outhouse she was in.
Yeah,
and all the pieces of wood were separated, so you can clearly see outside, and you could see he had a helmet on, he had some type of uniform on. Why the fuck would that be Erland? He was wearing a t-shirt and sweatpants before that. It just didn't make any sense at all.
Excuse me.
Our next point comes when she goes missing, and now all of a sudden, all these Nazi zombies start attacking the cabin. So they're breaking through the door, they're breaking through the windows, and, these kids are trying to block everything off. But this one kid, Erland, backs up towards the window, and starts getting dragged out by the zombies. Which happens in a lot of these movies, you know. But what got me here was they start dragging him out, and one comes up from behind his face, from behind his head, and grabs him, and this happens. And that just got me because, God, that looked so fake. So fake. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the clip of the movie where the guy is sitting there and his head just explodes.
Yeah, and it's just the fakest thing
And it
ever.
just looked like that, you know? And I was like, oh my God, they couldn't do just a little bit better job on that. I mean, that was really one of the most goriest things that we saw in the movie, like as far as up close in detail. I think they could have spent a little bit more time on that. Definitely.
Then we get to these zombies are fighting. So these zombies are intelligent enough to use fists in this battle.
Yeah, they're not brainless zombies.
No, they use knives, they use fists, they charge you, spear you.
They legitimately fight with you, like they have a brawl.
But yet, when it comes to them being attacked, they just become brainless. Like, he started swinging that Hamlet at him. An omelet. Started swinging that helmet at him, and he's... and just takes it.
We get to a point where there's only 4 people left in the cabin. It's Martin, Roy, Liv, and Hannah. And the 2 boys go out as bait to lure all the zombies towards them. They make noise, while the 2 girls are supposed to run to the car and go get help. As the 2 girls are running, they stop, and all of a sudden this one zombie comes up from between them, and he's wearing a winter jacket. A white winter jacket. Like let's just say a North Face.
Yeah.
Or a Spider. He's wearing a regular modern day winter jacket. And that bothered me so much. And he was in this movie for like maybe 20 minutes. They kept showing him. And it kept bothering me because it's like, how? So you're telling me this Nazi zombie killed someone, took their jacket and put it on? They know how to get dressed too? Like, that bothered the shit out of me that he was wearing a winter jacket. Like, he was wearing a North Face. So you gotta be kidding me. So now they cut back to the 2 guys who ran back into the cabin to defend themselves because all the zombies are hoarding around. So Martin is holding off the zombies while Roy is making a Molotov cocktail. So he goes to throw it. Martin takes all the barricade away from the window so he can throw it out the window at them. And he does this. And oh my God, you missed the fucking window. I mean, it wasn't a tiny window. It was a decent size. And you're standing maybe 2 or 3 feet from it.
And you could clearly see that he
just turned around and smashed it against the wall. So then as the cabin is burning around them, Martin takes out his cell phone. And he dials 911 apparently. But earlier in the movie, in fact right at the beginning when they arrived, the other guy, the guard, said that there was no cell phone reception up there in the mountain. So I'm confused. So either there was cell phone reception the whole time, or there wasn't. If there wasn't, then he shouldn't be able to make this phone call, period. And if there was, why not call 911 days ago? Why not call yesterday when you first saw the zombies?
Happened, yeah.
Well, why? I mean, that whole part just didn't make any sense to me. Either you had cell phone reception or you didn't. And they wrote themselves into a corner where, regardless of if they did or didn't, they fucked up both ways. And that bothered me.
You should have called from the beginning.
What?
They could have just called from the beginning.
Yeah, if they had it.
I would have called when she first went missing.
If they had it. If they had cell phone reception. And if they didn't, then how do you have it now? Like, both ways, they're wrong. Because of how they wrote it.
Unless 911's one of those things that you can call when there's no service, because it's an emergency number. I don't know.
If that was the case, then half of the
movies,
half of the horror movies out there wouldn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no cell phone service. 911. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, after the cabin, starts burning down and Martin and Roy leave, they have this little, they go into the shed and they have this little, like, Shaun of the Dead moment. When they grabbed all the weapons and they did, like, a zoom in on them and stuff. And it was that same kind of setup. And then here they are, like, strapped to the 9 with weapons. And these zombies are coming towards them. And they have this awesome fight scene. And I'm not going to lie. It was so entertaining to watch this fight scene. Because, yes, they were fighting zombies, but they were, like, more human.
Yeah, because they're fighting back.
They're fighting back. They can...
Until
they duck, they block, they punch, they kick. You know what I mean? They spear you. They brawl with you. So it was a very entertaining fight scene to see these two go up against these zombies. And it lasted for a good minute, And then Vigard shows up on the snowmobile that he has a machine gun strapped to. And he starts tearing into the zombies. But then, unfortunately, he gets killed.
Yes, and then we get to the part where they're chopping away at zombies, and he's got the axe, and Hannah comes up behind him.
Hannah or Liv?
Hannah.
Oh, it's Hannah. Okay.
That's what I was looking up before. Comes up behind him and puts her hand on his shoulder. And he turns around with that axe and goes... My point is, if you see him chopping away at zombies with the axe...
Clearly he's in a different state of mind at that point.
And first off, you know there's zombies everywhere. So if you're getting an arm on your shoulder, you're going to think it's a zombie.
Yeah, exactly.
So, of course. Dumb bitch.
That was her fault.
That's what you get.
That was her fault. There was no reason for her to yell for him. Say, Martin. Yeah, or, hey. But don't just come up and just put your hand on his shoulder. Yeah, I mean, that's such a stupid move. That's such a bad idea. And there was really no reason for her to die at that point.
No.
It didn't even matter. She survives an avalanche.
And then dies with an axe to her throat.
But dies because she made a stupid mistake. So then what happens is they end up killing all the zombies around them, and the colonel, the one who's the leader, obviously, comes out and he screams and he says, "Arise!" And then all of a sudden, like
the ground 100 shaking.
Yeah, because 100 more, or even more, like countless more zombies came up from the ground. So now you have Martin and Roy. They're the only two left alive. And they decide, let's just run.
Yep.
Which, obviously, let's just run. So they run. Roy ends up getting killed on the way running, which also made no sense.
Yeah, his intestines got stuck.
The colonel had a hammer.
And hit him with the
hammer. And hit him in the head with the hammer. So I thought that was going to be... I thought he was going to move his hand, and, his brain was going to come out. Instead, he's holding his head, but he turns around, and his intestines are from his body, hanging on a tree. It's when the fuck did that happen? How did it even do that to you?
Makes no sense.
Martin ends up getting... what he realizes is the Nazi zombies are only after the treasure. The treasure they stole. All the gold and silver and jewelry and all that. So he goes back to the cabin and he finds the box that had the treasure in it and he just gives it to them. So they let him live. So he finally makes it back to the car. And as he's trying to start the car, now with only one arm, because he cut it off, he gets back to the car and a coin falls out of his pocket, one of the coins of the treasure, and lands on the floor. And as he picks it up, the colonel is standing in the window, pulls back his fist, punch through the glass, cut to black. And that was the end of the movie, so final grade.
Give it a B.
B?
Yeah.
Do you have any... Can you expand on that? You just... these last few pages, letter.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yes, that's it. No, because for a zombie movie, it was good. But for the type of zombies, it was great. The action was good, but just those little points, that's why I'm giving it a B. Those little scenes where you had no idea why that happened, like his intestines getting stuck on that tree.
There were certain points in the movie where it's just people...
I would like to know
people died because the script just called for them to die.
I would like to know how they became the zombies as they are.
Yeah. I'm going to give this movie a B+. Not just to say, I'm one up above you, but I was thinking about giving it an A. I gave 10.0 Earthquake an A. But to be honest with you, just me personally, I didn't want to have two back-to-back A movies. Just because I don't want to have such a high grade on everything. So I'm going to give this one a B+. Those random deaths were a little
Random.
irking. So that's our bad movie review on Dead Snow. Tune in next week when we have Dead Snow 2. What is it, Red vs. Dead? Red vs. Dead. And actually, what you find out is Martin is in the cast.
Yeah.
So he lives, apparently, from that last point of the movie.
I hope they explain why.
Yes. So that's it.
That'll be my first point.
So that's it for this bad movie review. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what we can do better and what movies you want us to check out. But until next time, I'm Cope. Let me see you next time, guys. Later.